Hey, Chris from Keyfarm. So, it is April the 27th, and I'm working on this table. The video you're about to see, it's been shot over probably the last 10 days to 2 weeks, and believe me when I say there has been a lot of developments in that amount of time. But anyway, before I forget, it's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. And most of the stuff I know about working with wood I learned from him, so thanks for that. Alright, check this out. The first video, because I've decided to break it into 2 videos, is about the legs on this one, and this top frame, and putting it all together. And then just so you know, the second video, which is not made yet, will be about fastening the top boards together, and all the finishing, the staining, and all that sort of thing. And this is table number 2. I'm going to take an opportunity right here to show you table number 1. It's much bigger. The legs on that one started out as just square 4x4s, whereas the legs on this one have what we call the live edge, which is basically just the log. It wasn't milled on that side. You can see this right here. This wasn't milled on this side either. Basically, I had all the flat edges cut, but all the edges like this, if they're straight, I cut them with my skill saw. And then you'll see some things here where I had to cut this down to make a square spot to put the board, and then I've kind of feathered that back into the live edge. So you'll see those in different stages. But anyway, just take a look at this next video, and this will cover the legs and this bottom frame part. And then we'll go to video number 2, and that'll be staining, finishing, and attaching the top boards. Keep watching. Maybe subscribe. It's a good channel. We do all kind of cool stuff. Bye. Hey, Chris from Keyfarm. So, full disclosure, this is actually farm table 2. I've already built farm table 1. I did really good video in the first part, and then I kind of got in the mode of getting it done, and I didn't video how I made the top. So, farm table 2 is a little bit different. I already had 4x4s that I made legs out of for the other one. I'll show you a piece of that. This one, I have a slab of wood that's 3 1/4 inches thick that I got to make 4 table legs out of. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first 60 inches of it, or 64 because that end's a little short, and I'm going to make my 4 table legs out of that, and then whatever's left from here down I'll make 4 coffee table legs out of. So anyway, let's get to whittling. Okay, so I got that slab. I trimmed off that bad end that will be smaller table legs. Had one chunk on the other end because it kind of tapered down a little too much. Now, I'm having to cut these twice because my skill saw will only cut this deep, so I got to go back through and cut this. But once I get it down to a manageable size, I can put it on the miter saw and trim everything square, and see that ridge right there? I can get rid of that. Okay, so now I have to rip them long ways. So I'm just going to find the center of each board and draw a line. And keep in mind, these are rough, rustic tables. So if it doesn't get completely square, that's fine. I just have to have at least one square edge to mount my sides on, to have a somewhat square table. But it's getting a lot of the rough edge left on in different places, so really it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, I apologize for all the in and out and in and out. So anyway, I just measured my good edge from here to here, found the center, did the same thing on the other end, drew a line, and that's how deep my skill saw cuts. So now I just got to line up a line on the other side and then do this slab the same way. Let's face it, y'all don't want to see me do every little thing, right? And there we have it. 4 table legs with 3 square sides. Don't know if I'm going to square the other side or not on each one. We'll figure that out. A little bit of time to come. But now, all I got to do is put them on the miter saw and true them up, square up the ends, and cut them all to 28.5 inches. Alright, moving right along. Hey, Chris from Keyfarm. Now look, the first part of the video that I shot where I was making the legs, that was several days ago. A lot's happened. But what you need to know is the neighbor's animals have come to visit. Hey! Hey! Relax! It's a pig! Hey, Maple. So anyway, I was out here. I'm starting to work on the top part of the table. And really the frame, the band around the top of the legs. I do have pneumonia, and I am still recovering from the coronavirus. So, yes, you just heard that guy right. The whole time I was finishing up table 1, and everything you've seen thus far on table 2, well, everything you're going to see on table 2, I was working with the coronavirus. I did not have typical symptoms. I'll tell the whole story in a later video. Just know that the whole time you're watching this guy work, he has the coronavirus and pneumonia and doesn't even know it. I'm moving just a little slower, but not much slower. I probably need to call my neighbor and see about these animals. We'll get back to the table in just a minute. Knock off the barking. They're gone. Okay, so the neighbor came and got the animals, and here's what's going to happen. So when my buddy sawed these, I had him to leave the live edge on. So they were only sawed 2 ways. They weren't flipped the other 2 times. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a straight edge across, and I got to have 1 straight edge for the top of the frame to be, and then the bottom edge, where you don't have to square anything against it, will just be the live edge of the table. And it just seems to make it a little more old school and authentic. Alright, I had to pause it and go get the other 2 big slabs. Now this table needs to be 2.5 feet wide, and those boards are pretty wide, and they are a full 1.5 inches thick. And I've already squared them on 1 edge, so those will be where they meet together in the middle, and then I'll debark all of this, and those will be the edges. And since they're not quite wide enough to get 30 inches, that's where this piece right here is going to come in. I got to cut that into probably a 2x8, and it will be between those, and that will make up the top of the table. Alright, so those are my intentions. Now I got to put them into action. Alright, I don't like to take much video when it's windy, but this is what we're trying to do. These are, actually this table's not very big, so that's the long end. And then the short end, the board will go over top of there. So anyway, see how my lag bolts are recessed in there? That's what I'm about to do over here. Now, on one side, you have to measure it, because on one side, you got to go 1 length, and then when you go in this way, you have to go another length. Because the worst thing you want to do is have these lag screws hit each other in oak, because there's no moving. Something breaks or something doesn't go in right. So I'm putting these in at 1.5 and 3.5, and then when I drive them in this way in the other board, I'll go in at 1 inch and 3 inches. So there's a 1/2 inch difference, and they'll never hit each other. So anyway, if you can see that right there, it's about the middle of the board. All I do, it's hard to video, is I take that broad bit, and I need both hands to do it. But anyway, I'll drill out the recesses. And then I'll take a 7/32 bit, and I'll punch it as deep as one of these lag screws is. And then I just take the impact and drive them in I can't drive them in just super tight because this impact is strong enough to break those 1/4-inch lag bolts. I found that out on the last table I built, and I had to put some of them in at an angle. But even if you got to do that, it's not the end of the world. Alright, so I'm about to do that. With my broad bit, I've went through with that 7/32 bit. So now look, I've been buying these things. Let's see if I can do this. I've been buying these drill bits that have the hex on them, where you can just pop them out and then pop in your next tool. It works excellent. So check this out. Just take a washer. Oh, you see how these look old? All you got to do is buy those shiny zinc ones from Tractor Supply where you can buy them by the pound. And hang on. So you go to Tractor Supply and you buy them by the pound, and you put them in white vinegar and it ages them, and you can leave them out in the rain in the driveway and they'll rust too. Now when I feel it getting real tight, I gotta let off because like I said, it'll break them. And just so you know, I used my big square and I squared this top edge with this straight edge before I started drilling holes. Cool. Alright, so I got the 2 sections here, and then those 2 boards are going to end up being the ones that go right there. Now I got to explain something. The last table I built, they were square 4x4s. Well, these are not. These have the live edge. Well, to be able to put a board on square, I had to cut down this side and cut down this side and chisel this little piece out that I couldn't get to, because you can't put a flat board on a live edge and it ever work out. So what I did is I just came down 6 inches, and even if the board doesn't come down that far, this is way under the table and you'll never see it. But the part that you can see, say from here down, you know, you'll be able to see the live edge, and it'll all be stained and polyurethane, and it'll all look good. But anyway, this is just the bottom underside, and then this table is only going to be 4 feet by 30 inches wide because our dining room's not very big, and this one's for our house. So these boards are going to have to be cut down shorter, and like I said, that's one side, that's the other side, and that one, once I rip both sides off of it, it'll be in between those, and I got to show them how to join the top all together. But anyway, that's where we got to right now. Alright, now that I got these things smoothed back out where those notches were, you got to have something to fasten the top to. So that's where these boards come in. I just cut a strip. It's 1.5 inches thick, and I guess I cut it about 1 3/4 inches wide. So all I did is come over 8 inches, come down about 1/4 from the lip, and recessed a hole there, recessed a hole there, and all I got in there is those with washers on them. So check this out. When I go to put the top on, I'll run those up like that. So even after I recess them, even if they set up that high right there, they still won't go through the top, and that's real important. So, I got that one installed. I got this one right here. And then I'll cut one for this end and this end. And no bigger than this table is. I'll probably put one into the top here, one into the top down there, 2 on each side, and that'll make it as secure as it ever needs to be. Keep in mind, these are lag bolts run into oak. Once they're there, they are there. So, I got all of these in. They're glued, and they're on there with lag bolts. And then just for a little bit of stability, because this table won't have any supports on the legs, I just put this piece in here. Lag bolts recessed because the top lays flat on that. And once you get to this step, I mean, it is solid as a rock. Did I mention that this was a tree that fell on the farm? So this is sentimental to us because it's wood that grew on our place. Alright, stay tuned for the next video, which is not made yet, but it'll be finishing joining the top boards together, and all that good stuff. So Harley's about to pop up. Check him out. Hit the subscribe button. We do other stuff other than building. We got animals, fabrication projects. It's all good. Love God, love people. Keep watching Keyfarm.